Yeah, it's so cool. I know when she gets the ball, I'm running to look for the ball because I know she's going to throw it. So she's been great to play with. I mean, the future, we're going to be playing with each other a lot. Hopefully in 4 years we can be Olympians together. So.
I mean, it was the same, I think, 4 years prior. I'm pretty sure the Team WNBA beat Team USA. They were perfectly fine in the Olympics.
I just want to open up this video with a bit of a disclaimer. I had strep throat this past weekend. I'm still on antibiotics. I'm a little bit loopy as a result of it, so I'm still trying to make up the ground that I lost from the days I was sick. I have Team USA Olympics content in the works. I have a video on Alexandre Sarr in the works. And of course, I'm a little bit late to what happened with the WNBA All-Star game. I just wanted to give you guys a little update. I'm 100% okay. For those of you guys that say I need to take a vacation, I promise you in about 2 weeks time I will take a vacation. But for now, let's make this push to 1 million subscribers. We're about 16,000 subscribers away from hitting our goal, so check to see if you're subscribed. And now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? This has been without a doubt the most captivating WNBA season I have ever followed. It may have been one of the first WNBA seasons I've ever followed, because for once we were watching entertaining basketball being played, and it's something that I'm frankly here for because the WNBA season begins once the NBA season concludes. So the fact that there's a form of basketball keeping me entertained that I can make degenerate picks on Prize Picks makes me all the more happier. That aside, it's a lot of fun to have somebody to root for, and a huge reason why I'm a fan of this sport to begin with is 100% because of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. I mean, the drama and the rivalry between these two hooked me in from the very moment that they faced off against each other during the 2023 NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament. You know, when Angel Reese did this and LSU inevitably knocked out Iowa. And not only were these two able to recreate that magic in 2024, they took their rivalry to the WNBA, and it resulted in some heated moments between the two. But what was very interesting about this is there is an even greater rivalry in the WNBA, and that's the fact that the old guard, as they're referred to, which is a crazy nickname by the way, because it's referring to the WNBA veterans, the women that were playing in the WNBA when the WNBA wasn't getting that much attention, all were just a tiny little bit jealous of the fact that this brand new fresh infusion of young talent was getting all this attention. It wasn't even necessarily just Caitlin Clark. It was Angel Reese. It was Cameron Brink, which hopefully she could recover very quickly. And this all came to a breaking point when it was time to determine the 2024 Women's Olympic basketball team. Now, we've made a whole separate video on this, and I'm sure you guys have noticed this even in this year's basketball team. It's very typical for Olympic basketball teams to feature at least one rookie or player that is viewed as a generational talent, and they might not always become generational talent. I mean, the dream team had Christian Laettner, and Christian Laettner was supposed to be that generational talent based upon his achievements at Duke University. Unfortunately, he never became that generational talent at all. But Christian Laettner wouldn't be the only example of this. Emeka Okafor was supposed to be that next dominant big man in 2004, and I guess you could say the Charlotte Bobcats may have ruined him, but he at least got to play on the 2004 Olympic team, even though it was one of the worst Team USA men's basketball Olympic rosters in NBA history. Before we got to Anthony Davis, who won a gold medal during the 2012 Olympics before even stepping foot on an NBA court. So what I'm trying to say here is it's not really a new concept at all whatsoever. And you are kind of seeing it this past year. I mean, we have a separate video on Cooper Flagg doing incredibly well in the Team USA scrimmages, but Cooper Flagg is named to the Team USA select team just to practice with the Team USA men's national team. He doesn't officially have a roster spot on Team USA's basketball team. Men's Olympic basketball became significantly more competitive recently. Back when the Dream Team was playing, Team USA only had to face about 9 other NBA players throughout all of the Olympics. That number has ballooned up to 61 potential NBA players throughout this Olympic run, which is awesome for the sport of basketball. basketball and unfortunate for Team USA. With that being said, same can't be said for women's basketball. I've always likened women's basketball to where men's basketball was maybe in the late 1970s, where it's just starting to gain traction. If you paid attention to the NBA in the 1970s, it wasn't really that respected. If you've ever paid attention, you'd kind of notice that the NBA skips the 70s altogether whenever they're discussing its history, mainly because the 70s was a very dark point for the NBA. And then towards the end of the 70s, you start talking about how Magic Johnson entered the NBA and Larry Bird entered the NBA and their rivalry. That's pretty much what's happening with the WNBA currently. But the interesting thing about this is the older players of the WNBA aren't really excited about the fact that this new young talent is getting all this attention, as evidenced by this interview by Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird when they were discussing Caitlin Clark.
Look, SVP, reality is coming. There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it. You look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time. Not saying that it's not going to translate, because when you're great at what you do, you're just going to get better. But there is going to be a transition period where you're going to have to give yourself some grace as a rookie. And, you know, it might take a little bit longer for some people.
Now, eventually, Caitlin Clark would be omitted from Team USA's basketball roster altogether, which was all the more shocking because we're talking about a generational rookie talent, without a doubt here. I mean, she entered the WNBA, she lived up to the hype, she became an all-star, she's in this crazy Rookie of the Year race with Angel Reese. She's currently averaging 17 points per game and 8 assists per game with 1.5 steals per game while shooting 33% from 3 for Indiana in her first year. I mean, this is more than enough to get on the Olympic team, but as a result of the fact that Minnesota Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve apparently has some sort of vendetta against her, and the fact that the old guard doesn't want to let any of the new players in, she was omitted from the Olympic team, which I think is a huge blown opportunity because as a result, you're not going to see as many people interested in the women's basketball Olympics because of this. And this is really unfortunate because the WNBA could use as much marketing as they possibly could here, and this was a huge discussion and a huge subject of debate. I mean, Monica McNutt and Stephen A. Smith got into a war over this.
What about the WNBA, who talks about women, women's sports more than First Take?
Stephen A., respectfully, with your platform, you could have been doing this 3 years ago if you wanted to.
Wow.
And Stephen A. Smith's point was that, look, the WNBA is on track to lose roughly $50 million this year, despite the fact that it's more popular. Monica McNutt saying,
well, she isn't the best basketball player in the sport, so it doesn't make sense for her to be included in the Olympic team.
at the end of the day, you never really had to be one of the best players in the game to be on the Olympic team, as you saw in the case of Anthony Davis, Christian Laettner, and Emeka Okafor. And the excuse that they gave here was because they didn't want her fans to be upset when she didn't get much playing time, but at least you'll have those fans tuning in. Regardless, this was news from months ago, and if there was any more evidence that Cheryl Reeve definitely has some sort of disdain towards Caitlin Clark, it's the fact that when she was even asked about Caitlin Clark bringing a pro-Indiana Fever audience to a Minnesota Lynx home game, she said this.
It's all around the league. But as a coach of the home team, there's going to be a lot of people cheering for that other side. I mean,
I'll get 2
how about one?
Not even one.
Now look, this could just be interpreted as a head coach saying,
I don't care who's in the stands, we're gonna win the game.
but this very much sets the stage for something that the WNBA has done significantly better than the NBA. And honestly, I don't think there's a way that the NBA could fix this, but I still thought this was really, really cool. Now look, I want to say things are still trending up for the WNBA. I mean, it looks like players are going to get paid significantly more. The WNBA is also considering a regular season expansion from 40 games to 44 games in 2025. I mean, things are really trending up, and even furthermore, the All-Star Game garnered 3.44 million viewers, which is a 146% increase from its previous record. The previous highest viewed All-Star Game averaged 1.4 million viewers. And this brings us to why the All-Star Game was so entertaining. You see, there's a lot of players that weren't invited to Team USA's basketball team. Now, some people are saying Arike Ogunbowale deserved to be on Team USA more than Caitlin Clark, but Arike didn't want to play for Team USA's basketball team. And she even explained how complicated her situation was.
I know myself and I know what I see, and I just wasn't feeling like they really wanted me on that team. So, I just removed myself, because it is a process to, keeping your name in the pool and, having to go to these things. So if I already knew and felt that I wasn't going to be on the team, I just removed myself from that. When I said politics, I'm just speaking in general. I've obviously been involved in basketball my whole life, and, I've been a part of some things that had political, whether it was college, WNBA. So I kind of just said it like that. So there were flags, there were, things that I just felt, but at the end of the day, they choose who they want to choose, and that has nothing to do with me. And I'm very confident and comfortable in myself and my skills. So, whether I'm on the team or not on the team, I'm still blessed to play the game. God has blessed me with my abilities, and I'm just going to keep doing what I do.
So this set the stage for a very entertaining all-star game for the WNBA, where we got to see Team USA go up against the rest of the WNBA. And the result was fantastic. The NBA really needs to figure out how to do this. I'll give the WNBA credit. The one thing they have over the NBA currently is the fact that they know how to make the least competitive moments of their season extremely competitive. Whether it's Kennedy Carter attacking Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese just celebrating, or Angel Reese with a flagrant foul and then blaming the fact that Caitlin Clark got a favorable whistle.
I think we went up really strong a lot of times and we didn't get a lot of calls. And going back and looking at the film, I've seen a lot of calls that weren't made. I guess some people got a special whistle, but...
Or if it's the fact that these players are actually defending each other and playing their hardest during an all-star game. They didn't need to dangle a carrot in front of them at all whatsoever. There was no reward for winning this all-star game except bragging rights. It was all about Team USA saying, hey, we deserve to be here. We are the best that the WNBA has to offer, versus the rest of the WNBA that said, I don't really think so. And the game was masterful. I mean, take a look at how they were guarding Caitlin Clark on this particular play. Look at how close Kelsey Plum is getting to Caitlin Clark, not even giving her a single inch. Could you just imagine seeing this in the NBA? Look at all the way up the court, trying to deny her the ball. This is what I wish the NBA All-Star Game could be. And for the most part, this game was incredibly entertaining, with Breanna Stewart dropping 31 points and 10 rebounds for Team USA basketball, while Team WNBA had Arike Ogunbowale go off for 34 points, and Caitlin Clark setting an assist record with 10. It was a very entertaining game where Team WNBA ended up winning. And when Caitlin Clark was asked about this victory, this is what she had to say about it.
I mean, it was the same, I think 4 years prior. I'm pretty sure the Team WNBA beat Team USA. They were perfectly fine in the Olympics. So
at the end of the day, you could say that Caitlin Clark got her revenge on Team USA for being snubbed. At the same time, you could say that Team USA was justified in not adding Caitlin Clark because she only dropped 4 points. But I feel like when you have a team full of all-stars guarding you extra tight during an all-star game, it definitely is a little bit easier to facilitate than to be the primary scorer on your team. Regardless, they ended up winning. At the end of the day, I agree with Angel Reese when she says this.
Yeah, it's so cool. I know when she gets the ball, I'm running to look for the ball because I know she's going to throw it. So she's been great to play with. I mean, the future, we're going to be playing with each other a lot. Hopefully in 4 years, we can be Olympians together. So.
And look, the effect that these two have had on the WNBA has been incredible this year. It's been a lot of fun to talk about this during the NBA offseason, and you guys seem to be enjoying it as well. So at the end of the day, I think Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are huge winners for this. I just hope the WNBA gets behind them and starts supporting them. And I hope the old guard starts supporting them a little bit too. I know it's difficult to be in a sport for years and giving it your all, and then all of a sudden you see a bunch of younger players coming in and doing your job at least almost as good as you are. But that's just the way it goes. You guys did your job. There was so much interest that you generated in this younger generation that resulted in these younger rookies coming in, stepping up their game, and becoming generational talents that captivated the interest of a worldwide audience. And I just hope it continues to grow, man. Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about all this? Do you think Caitlin Clark officially got her revenge? Or do you think Team USA made their point by holding her to 4 points? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.